Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me on the Slice of Healthcare podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joining me today is Steve Cagle, the CEO at Clearwater. Steve, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Jared. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really
Awesome.
excited to have you on. We're recording this right after we were just at Vive a few weeks ago, and it was a great event.
It was.
You were obviously one of the title sponsors of it, so I mean, I saw your logo everywhere, which is great, right? Which is what you want. Um, Before we dive in, would love to hear, what did you think of Vive? And then we'll start off by giving your background and then a quick overview of Clearwater.
Sure. Well, Vive is a great event. It's an event that really brings together healthcare innovation. So digital health companies that are new and beginning earlier in their journey, all the way to larger organizations that are really creating a lot of new exciting technologies, and brings those organizations together, those companies together with senior leaders in healthcare organizations, and also with investors and incubators. So really connecting that healthcare ecosystem of innovation, which I think is something that's really helping to accelerate some of these great benefits that we're seeing with all this new technology. We're really pleased to see a bit more focus this year with cybersecurity, because cybersecurity has become a really important issue and risk that all business leaders, all the way up through the board of directors, need to be concerned about. So there were 4 sessions this year, speaking sessions on cybersecurity. We hope that there'll be more next year, and then we also had, as you alluded to, the cybersecurity pavilion, which Clearwater sponsored, and we were very happy to do that in conjunction with AHIS. So great event. It grew from last year, and certainly looking forward to seeing how it continues to evolve as a key place for important innovation in healthcare.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially next year. It's in Los Angeles, so we should get a lot of people on the West Coast that attend the event, which will be really cool. Yeah, we're doing things backwards today, everyone on the show, right? We go into shouting out Vive, but Steve, would love for you to quickly just give the audience, for those that maybe don't know you, a quick overview of your background, and then kind of tie that into quick overview of Clearwater before we dive in here today.
Sure. My background has been in healthcare for my entire career. I began my career in a technology company, in a software company that provided quality management software to the pharmaceutical and medical device medtech industries. There was a lot of compliance associated with that solution, as well as helping organizations to be more efficient in delivering their products to the market, and deliver them in a quality way. So I was there for about 10 years. It was a startup company that grew very, very quickly, and was purchased by private equity. I moved on to some other private equity owned companies in consumer healthcare and pharma, but really wanted to get back into technology and compliance, and that led to the opportunity at Clearwater. I joined the company in 2018, shortly after Altaris Capital Partners made a strategic investment, and was really attracted to the market, the opportunity to really help healthcare in solving an important challenge in security and compliance, and also was just really impressed by the great team that existed at Clearwater and the great culture that we had as a company. So I've been here for about 5 years now, and since that time, we've really grown as an organization, thanks to a lot of great input from our customers, a lot of collaboration in the industry. Clearwater provides cybersecurity, compliance, and privacy services and software to healthcare. We're 100% healthcare focused. We work with hospitals and health systems, digital health companies, physician practice management groups, really any type of organization that does business in healthcare. And our mission is simply to help those organizations achieve their missions by making them more secure, compliant, and resilient. So at the end of the day, what gets us really excited about the work that we do is that we're helping healthcare to better serve patients, to protect the patients from breach or from inability to deliver care from a ransomware attack. And we're a growing organization serving over 500 customers today, and really proud of the work that we do.
The The healthcare focus is interesting, right? Because there's a lot of companies in the cybersecurity space, and what you'll see with a lot of them is they kind of say we cover, all of the above, right? Talk us through the importance and also the strategic focus of saying we're going to focus in on healthcare because, I mean, I think even versus some of these other industries, healthcare has even a bigger need for cybersecurity because you have patient records, you have all this information. Talk us through why that focus in healthcare is so important.
Yeah, well, healthcare, as everyone who's in healthcare knows, is unique, and it has a unique set of needs, of course, as well as different aspects to the environment that we're in today. It's from a cybersecurity perspective, it has traditionally underinvested in security. It's also, to an extent, underinvested in technology, although we're seeing a lot of innovation, as we just talked about, in healthcare, and a lot of that innovation is coming very, very quickly. When you're in a healthcare environment and you're deploying new technology, you certainly do have to think about the impact to the patient. So there's a clinical impact, and there's also just the dynamics of healthcare, especially today, being very short-staffed, being low on resources, expenses going up, reimbursement going down. So many healthcare organizations are cash-strapped, and we're always looking for ways in healthcare to improve outcomes for our patients, but also, of course, to deal with the reality of having to reduce costs. So a lot of that is driving new technology, and it's doing a lot of good things, but it's also creating an environment that is much more vulnerable to cyber attacks. And the number of cyber attacks on healthcare has increased significantly over the last several years. And at this point, it is the most targeted industry out of all of our critical infrastructure industries for ransomware. So healthcare organizations are really struggling with that dynamic as they're looking to innovate and create this new technology, but now they're creating new vulnerabilities. There's more data, there's more people accessing that data, they're sharing it with more third parties, and all along the way, of course, they've underinvested in security, and they're not necessarily in a position to make significant investments very quickly. So that's really where we're finding opportunities to help the industry to solve and to manage some of those issues. And those needs also change depending on which part of healthcare we're talking about. So a digital health company at an early stage is very, very different than a large hospital system that has dozens of hospitals and ambulatory locations, may have a health plan. It's also very different from a physician practice management group that's private equity backed, that's growing very, very quickly. So we've taken the approach to really specialize in different, not just in healthcare, but also in different market segments of healthcare to address those very specific needs.
And one of the things I also wanted to be able to dive into with you here today. I mean, how often do we get the CEO of a major cybersecurity company on? This is a topic that's fresh, top of mind for a lot of people. The Silicon Valley Bank collapse, right? What I haven't seen too many people talk about, and which is part of the reason I was really excited to have you on, is the cybersecurity implications of something like that, or in this case, this. Can you talk us through what those are?
Yeah, absolutely, and you're absolutely right to bring that up, because whenever there is a large sum of money at stake, and there's a sense of urgency and uncertainty, almost panic, if you will. It's a prime opportunity for cyber criminals to develop some new scam or some new way of trying to entice people to give them information or to give them money. And we did see signs of these scams taking place. They're still taking place, specifically in conjunction with the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. So there were numerous suspicious websites that were registered following the collapse. Even though our government has said that it will backstop depositors, not everybody is aware of that, or maybe not everybody trusts it's really going to happen, or maybe not everybody can wait. So if you're in a vulnerable position and you're worried, you're scared, and now you're receiving an email that says, "Hey, we're helping depositors recover their money. We're offering to buy out your deposits. We've got other opportunities here for you to try to get something out of this." That's when you see people let their guard down, because they're worried, and they want that solution, and it feels like relief. So there were those types of scams that were happening, are happening. You're probably aware of the USD coin at one point had $3.3 billion stuck at Silicon Valley Bank, and following that announcement, there were numerous schemes that really contacted those depositors and said, "Hey, we've got a reward program where we're distributing, we're distributing USDC as part of a payback program." And then they send you a QR code to scan, and they're trying to get to they're trying to get into your crypto wallet, right? So they're not giving you money; they're compromising, and they're taking money. So these are the types of things that we see. And this is just one example, of course, with Silicon Valley Bank, but it happens in other cases too. Cyber criminals are very aware of transactions that are taking place, mergers, acquisitions. We saw that when we had our merger last year with Synergistic, and you need to be very aware when that's happening. So whenever you have a major event, absolutely, you need to have that awareness that you're going to have these types of attacks or targeted attacks coming.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I talked to a lot of founders mainly during that time, and I feel like from their point of view, they were just super scared because they've never gone through anything like that. A lot of them didn't think to spread out their money across different funds. Now they're like, what do I do, right? So it was definitely a crazy. A lot of calls were canceled when
Yeah.
all that went down because everyone was just kind of scrambling to see what they needed to do. Um, but yeah, that's super interesting though to hear the cybersecurity implications. And one of the other things I wanted to really dive in with you, Steve, too, is just in general, um, you know, talk us through your advice or how you're helping, a lot of your customers today manage cyber risk in 2023, and then maybe, give us the what you think beyond will look like as well, right?
Yeah. Well, managing cyber risk, it starts first with having a good understanding of where your information is, what systems are critical to your business or support your business. So we typically would do that through a business impact analysis, where we want to understand the business process and what are the business systems that we need to run the process. But you really want to think of your crown jewels. You want to think about, where do I have this valuable information? And then you really want to do a risk analysis. And a risk analysis is a process by which we look at specific vulnerabilities and threats that are associated with those information systems, or with those um, parts of your systems, with your components of your systems that are really things that you need to protect. And then we look at the security controls that are in place, and we make an assessment of how likely is it for a threat to act upon a vulnerability and to cause a security event, and then what's the impact to your organization. So likelihood and impact, those are the two components of risk, and each organization needs to understand or make a decision as to where they want to draw the line. What level of risk are they willing to accept? Now, what's happened, today, or not just today, but what's happening in this environment and going forward, is that it's become much more complicated because, again, we're using all these third-party technologies that may have vulnerabilities, that we're not aware of, or that we become aware of, and we have to be aware of very quickly and act upon very quickly. We have third parties that we don't necessarily have control. We're giving them data, we're sharing data, or we're relying on them to perform a service that's critical to our business. And if that goes down, that's a real problem for us. So we need to assess the risk of that vendor or that vendor's technology, and do that in a way that gives us a level of comfort that it's an acceptable level of risk. So that's how we're really working with a lot of our customers from a risk management perspective, is helping them to be better at that process. We could do that through a combination of our own proprietary software, and we have consulting services. But many of our customers now are opting to really move more into a managed services program, because what the situation is today is risk management. It's an ongoing process. You can't just do it once and you're done with it, because your environment's changing very, very quickly. So the organizations that have gotten really good at understanding and responding to risk are the ones that are going to significantly reduce likelihood that they're going to have a breach. The other thing I'll mention that I think is extremely important, if we look at some of the lessons learned over last year, there were companies that had incidents that were able to detect them, contain them, and recover from them quickly. And those companies had very minimal impact to their organizations and to the data that they were protecting. There are other companies today that are out of business, right? They weren't able to do that. And your ability as an organization to monitor, detect, respond, and recover, to have an incident response plan that you've tested, that you've not had to answer the question the first time. Do I pay the ransom? Do I not pay the ransom? Do I notify customers? Do I have a press release? What do I tell employees? Do I call the insurance company? Which number do I call? All those things have to be tested as if you're going to have to go to battle, because it is a battle. And then you need to be able to operate your business while all this is happening with as minimal impact. So you need a business continuity plan and you need a disaster recovery plan. Too many organizations found out the hard way last year that those plans were out of date or they just didn't exist. So we're really working with our customers to make sure they have solid playbooks in place, they're tested, and they can remain resilient under an attack. And that would be my advice to anybody, is to really spend a lot of time and focus in that area.
And what's next that you're really excited about for Clearwater? Are there any events that are on your radar that you'll be attending, where people will be able to, potentially link up with you? What's exciting you about the rest of the year?
Yeah, well, we'll be at HIMSS coming up in a couple of weeks, so we're definitely excited about that and hoping to connect with customers and partners and potential customers and others in the industry. We've got I think in terms of the company, a number of things on our plate this year. So last year we merged with two great companies, Synergistic and TechLock, really with the vision of creating a clear leader in healthcare security and compliance. And we've really been working very hard at integrating the companies and doing everything we can to make sure that our customers are getting as much value as possible. And that's resulted in a lot of really great updates to our services, some new and innovative ways that we can really help our customers and manage some of these problems, challenges, I should say, that they're dealing with. And we've got a lot more that we're looking as we're looking to the rest of the year that we'll be bringing to our customers to continue to provide them with really valuable services that are addressing some of these needs. So very excited about that. And yeah, just very excited about some of the things that we're seeing happening in Washington. I would say with some of the recent activity from not only Senator Warner, who's had a very big leadership position in terms of security and healthcare, but also President Biden's recent cybersecurity strategy, which looks like it will be a good igniter of other activity that will certainly help to drive stronger security in healthcare and other critical infrastructure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always great too when you're seeing the government get involved in these crucial issues, right? And helping promote and push forward these key initiatives. That's not always the case, right? So when we're able to, at least we're focusing on some of the right things in terms of cybersecurity and like you were just talking about. But I'm really so happy we were able to have you on the podcast. I hope we can have you on again in the near future. Maybe get you on a panel and talk some more.
I would love to do that. Really enjoyed speaking with you today. Thanks for having me.